Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first Saint Mac and Friends show. This episode we have three guests, Nuts, Nutter, and Really Nuts. It's yours to make up which one is crazier. We start off with the great and the great and the really, really great, the one and only. This guy, you know him for sure. You can call him Pinehead or whatever you want. So here he is, first guest of the evening. Hi, Paul.
Good evening, everybody. Belgium, the world.
You okay?
Yeah, good. You?
Okay,
Friday,
you're
so it's
okay
great.
and ready to go. Okay, our next guest is none less the always crazy local guy, a bit like how you call it, Paul. Let's give a description of Chilton.
Oh, I think he kind of defies description in public anyway. So
So let's do it like this. Here he is, Chilton.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. You saved me there. Hello, everybody. Hello.
Chilton, yeah, I see on the back you have a really, really, really nice life jacket. So it looks great. Where did you buy it?
Well, I can't be telling everybody about it. I can't tell it again over here. But yes, something which I wear when I go for a walk. Thank you, Gunter, for the jacket.
And the last guy is none less than this guy. And I think Chilton, it's yours to say what describe Kenny.
Well, the picture itself describes Kenny over there. He's got my soup bowl there. There you go. But definitely, again, something you don't want to describe Kenny on the live television. There you go.
Hey, Kenny. Okay, Kenny, you have some problems with the sound again?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Mute him.
I'm having to do this on this
We
evening,
told you
guys,
before, stop watching porn.
I know, but that's why. See, the eyesight was good, but it's not so good now, and now I know why.
are you still in Dumbarton, Kenny?
Still in Dumbarton.
Well, that is the low tech. So
I'm just trying to find. I'm surrounded by stuff that I think's causing interference, so I'll try and shuffle about. How does that sound?
Isn't Victoria with you? Because mostly she handles the problems.
Victoria, you handle the problems. Her biggest problem.
I was waiting for Victoria. I was waiting for Victoria to make an appearance.
Okay, tonight is all about whiskey, of course. You all have two whiskeys selected, and so we will talk about that one, and of course we do a lot of the talking about other stuff as well. So I hope you're all ready for it. I think the viewers are ready for it. So and I know you all are drinking beer at this time. So let's start with the most important thing of the evening. What are you drinking?
The phone, I think it's causing interference.
Oh, you want to
So
switch?
Victoria is handling the problems with Kenny at this point.
But you've just got to kind of find somewhere over there to prop it up.
We have
Okay, it's a lager, Paul. What is it?
No.
Brewgooder.
Sorry, that was
It's
Victoria
made here.
stealing my beer.
I see two Gildan Rocks.
I'm on the Golden Rock as well.
You see there?
Hey, I missed that email. I got Brewgooder. It's beer that saves the world, apparently. So. It's made here, and it does good things for people. So
Okay.
it helps the world and clean water.
I'll
for, like,
let the side down by going on to tenants in a wee while. So
I don't have an idea what you're saying.
Yeah. This helps give clean drinking water to people all over the world. So there's a nice charity thing to it. So.
Okay, I'm drinking something from a customer of mine, and he brought it me this afternoon. He made it himself. It's a stout beer, Dutch stout, and for some reason he's written on like a horse, cowgirl. So that was that, and of course we will be starting off with a drink. And I see some people Come on, we are thirsty. Okay, Richard, we will start with the drink. We will end at 20:30. So we have 5 minutes left. So
What do I do? Closer?
and Kenny is walking around with his phone.
I'm trying to find somewhere where there's not going to be any interference. I might have found something.
Try the toilet.
You don't want to know what goes on with one another.
Kenny, Jimi Hendrix used to record in a bathroom. So
And look how it worked out for him.
Great acoustics.
That's what I'm worried about, in case I've got someone records what I'm doing in the bathroom.
Oh, it's recorded. Before we start, I have to start off with this part. This tasting is made possible with our dear beloved importers, Whiskey Import, the Whiskey Mercenary, and the Nectar. So thank you guys for allowing us to do this. So thank you very much. So these are the importers for Belgium, of course. So thank you guys, and I delivered, and I promised, as I told you guys, I will make sure everybody knows who you are. So that is. Let's start off with our first drink. We talked early on what are we going to try. Kenny has almost left the building.
Hey, if you put that one on.
Okay, even Paula thinks Victoria has to help you.
I'm hopeless on my own, Gunther. What can I say?
Okay, let's start off with the first whiskey because Richard is very anxious and he really wants to have a drink. So we talked about it before we began. And Paul, we start off with you. We will start off with
Cool.
this one, Spy Tawny Port 12-year-old. It's
nice. Thank you.
It's new on the Belgian market. I have been told it will be in Belgium available from next week on. So I was the first one to have it. So thank you, Johan.
Nice. Oh, Johan's good. Yeah, we were supposed to launch this in about March, but the pesky little thing that stopped everybody moving for 6 months got in the way. So it's now arriving a little bit late, but Belgium, Netherlands, Poland, Denmark, Norway have ordered it now. So it's starting to appear now. But this is the first place I think anybody's seen it outside of tastings in Scotland. So.
If I'm right, it's already available in Holland.
Should be. Well, if you've got a bottle there, because our Dutch and Belgian importers work really closely together, so that's probably why it's launching in Belgium next week. But you've got one of the first bottles. So. Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
But,
okay, it's not that high in alcohol level, so it's 46 degrees. 12-year-old, so it's fairly old because most of the bottles at this point are non-age statements.
Yeah, most of our distillery, since we took over the distillery in 2012, but they didn't have a lot of old stock in the warehouse, and a lot of distilleries started increasing their production again after the 1990s recession, probably around 2004, 2005. So we've now got a couple of 12-year-old whiskies starting to appear. This is a sort of bigger brother. We did a 10-year-old a couple of years ago that did very well, and this is a bigger version, an older version of this one. So we always try and keep a little bit of stock aside to do. It's a limited edition, but there's enough to go round for now. So.
Okay, for the viewers who are drinking with us, make sure you let us know what you think about it. Benny is starting already. Banana on the nose.
Yeah, no, better not.
You can get arrested for that in Scotland. Yeah, I mean, our biggest selling whiskey is one called Tenney, which is a Tawny Port cask finish. There we go. Good on you. Always at work. Look at that.
Yeah, he actually is.
He's brilliant. He's and if anybody from Mercedes is watching, he put 600,000 miles on his last people carrier, and I think they should give him a new one for free. He's had to go and buy another car. But yeah, fantastic. But yeah, our biggest selling whiskey is the Tawny Port Cask Finish No Age Statement that we launched in 2014. Very popular in Europe. This is elements of this from the early batches of that. So we kept some of the Tawny Port stocks back, and now we can do a 12-year-old as well. So starts in bourbon, and we call it a finish, but it's probably a longer finish than would be on the No Age Statement one with Tawny Port casks.
Okay. You mentioned before this one is one of the newest one, and you said to me, make sure you will take it with you during the tasting. Is it purely because it's the new one, or you were that keen on having it and trying it and knowing what the viewers will love about it?
I've tried it. We like it. The 10-year-old version of this won one of the biggest medals out there. There's a Belgian competition called Spirit Selection, and it was the only Scottish distillery to get the grand gold. I think Paul John got a medal in the same medal the same year.
Oh, so it's that easy.
That's exactly what I was thinking as well. So they're just giving them out to anyone that comes along.
Oh no. Seven whiskies, and only 3 of them I think were Scotches, and only one of them was a distillery. So, but yeah, I remember. So I remember phoning Shilton when we saw the results, but it sold out so quickly because the 10-year was so popular, and then the 10-year-old was the first age statement with Tawny Port. This is the next step. So I wanted to see what people thought of it, because it's we've had great results from we've done a few virtual tastings in Scotland now and in London. But this is the first international window for it, if you like.
Okay.
So we've had the first tasting, and I want to see some more as well. So banana on the nose. Okay. We'll love to see what else.
So guys,
know it's fruity,
what you think about
but I think you get some great flavour here. So.
Kenny and Chilton.
Hello.
I know. Hi. I know you guys visited Spy Distillery as well. What did you think about it? What were your thoughts? And except Paul was working there and it was making fun of him. So
Shilton, after you, mate.
I've not been there. The only place I've been to is Paul's office. Every time I'm in Glasgow.
We have a restraining order to stop Shilton coming into the office now. There's a wire. There's a metal fence, an old Victorian building with the sort of wrought iron fence. We've now electrified the fence because the phone would go and you'd answer and you go, "Hello, have you got any Fumari?" Because he likes our peated whiskey. Kenny's been at the distillery. We let Kenny and Vicky have there's a distillery cottage that if we really want to get rid of people, we let them stay there, because you can't get a phone signal, you can't get TV, you can't get anything there. We don't tell them that until they're there.
No, that's a secret.
I remember the message I got from Kenny when he went up there, and I won't repeat it, but it's great. They've been to the distillery, they've seen it. We love showing people the distillery. It's a bit difficult to do it just now with everything that's going on, but hopefully that changes and we can get back in there to have some fun. So,
okay,
it's genuinely it's a stunning location, and the very fact that Paul's distillery it's an old mill, so you've still got the old water wheel working and stuff like this. And when Victoria and I went up, basically they just unfortunately locked the doors of the distillery and just left us to the run of the place in the grounds. And it was
wasn't unfortunate.
Well, I did try and dig my way under, but I couldn't get in. In fairness, they left plenty of samples in the cottage that we had, so we were absolutely very, very well looked after. But if you ever get the chance to go and visit the place, not only is it a beautiful distillery, it's a beautiful part of the world as well. And I could not recommend it highly enough. Okay, when Vic was going, she had to take luggage like me with her, but it was just tickety-boo. I loved it. It really was good.
Okay. So talking about luggage, that brings us to, of course, airplanes and stuff like this. Chilton, what's the thing you like most of being a brand ambassador?
Okay, I think the best part I like or I enjoy is meeting people. Rather than the flying, the traveling. That's again, it's stressful. But I think it's meeting people every time you go, and that keeps you going. So that's my thing, which I enjoy the most, like meeting people like yourselves, Kenny, Paul, Gunter. Yes, you have to sometimes get up early morning and travel, and it gets a lot of tiring. I'm sure Paul and Kenny will add on to this as well. But yeah, definitely.
Okay, Paul, back to you. I was hoping some viewers would say something about the whiskey. They're not doing that. So shame on you guys. So
They're quiet. What's going on?
let's talk it through. What's your perspective on the nose?
For me,
Yeah.
I mean, this is a bourbon cask with a Tony Port finish. On the nose, it should be nice summer berry fruits. So strawberries, jam, maybe a little bit spicy. Obviously, the port cask has been on there longer than it has for the no age statement whiskies, but our bourbon cask whiskey is very delicate and sweet. And they haven't done a tasting note because they've drank it. Look, but yeah, our bourbon, our normal, if you like, our bourbon spirit, we produce a very light, sweet spirit. Takes the cask finishes very well, and I think when you put that light kind of almost cream soda thing that we have with our bourbon cask whiskies, and you throw it in a port cask, you start to get different type fruit flavors you don't normally get in younger whiskies. So lots of fruits that we don't normally smell. We don't see a lot of fruit in Scotland. We're not a healthy country, but summer fruits, berries, strawberries, jam, nice and sweet. So.
Okay. Apparently, we are talking
There's plenty
about
empty glasses. Did you know? You didn't send
yeah,
enough, so.
plenty of. But the ones who are saying something about the whiskey itself, I read about. Think very nice on the nose. Taste is great. Soft drink, milk chocolate and almonds. So Richard
nice
says
one.
it's a good starter. So I think overall it's a nice.
We thought it's a good one to start the tasting like, because I know the whiskies that are coming. So this is just a little palate tickler for everybody else. Just starts everybody conversing. So.
Mm-hmm. And did. What the fuck is he doing?
I was just agreeing with Paul. He's conversing.
Okay, it's without sound. Okay, at this promise. Gunnar, what did you think of it? I have to be honest. I was nosing, and when you started talking, I wasn't able to taste it. It's quite sweet, and with a bit of spicy. Yeah, I agree.
I think there's almost a sort of little sherry note on the spice, but just very, very subtle. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like I think Richard said it. Good starter. It's a really good starter, and I will enjoy the rest of the bottle later on. So I have plenty of it. The second one, first one is empty. So and then you have this amateur. Thank you.
It's great when the family get behind you, isn't it?
I think you get the name tags for Paul and Kenny mixed up.
What?
No,
It's easy done.
Descendants
We
said
did
that
a whiskey festival a few years ago over here in Scotland in a town called Falkirk, and a guy came up and Paul and I were working together, and a guy came up and he just said, "Can I ask a question? Is there a factory where they just clone you?" Because everybody's starting to look exactly the bloody same. So, fortunately, Paul's been exercising more than I have through lockdown. So he'll be the skinny one of the two now.
They're copying our style. That's all it is. It's such a fantastic.
Listen,
look.
we've just got it on the button, Paul. They're all jealous. As soon as Shelton can become balder, he'll be a happier man.
And they see us, they go away, they converse, and they come back and they steal our image.
You're on the button, mate. Honestly. Beautifully done.
Okay, you want to say saying Sweden around the 10-year-old. I never tried the 10-year-old, so I'm not able to say it. Paul, do you agree?
What did he say? What's that?
I will show it again. Sweden and rounder than the 10-year-old.
Yeah, because I think that's a consequence of it having a longer time with the port casks. So the flavors have a time to soften down. Maybe some of the sharper edges are gone. So.
Okay. Enough about that one. Let's go. Actually, before we go any further, I found a photo. I've only found 2 photos of your guys together. This one is the first, and then you have the third brother.
Yes, that's our dad.
There's the third doppelganger.
That's our dad.
And his son.
Yeah.
And the radar on the right.
Mark used to be a policeman, so he protects us when we're traveling. So.
I have to ask Paul. Most photos of you're always on the foreground and your face half on it. Why?
Yes, because I can't take any selfies. I was rubbish at it.
Have you seen the bottom of his face?
We're seeing that now.
That's the best bit.
Okay, we have the king of TikTok with us. Chilton, tell Paul what he has to do to make a very good selfie.
Paul, I did mention this to Paul every time up in Glasgow, and I did try as well, teaching him how to take the selfies, but it ended up that I started taking selfies like Paul.
Okay, so Chilton, at this point, you see, I'm taking the bottle. Paul John.
Yep. So there you go.
It's all up to you now. Let's start. Earn your money.
You guys had the first whiskey already from Paul, and now I think it's time for some soup in Belgium. Yeah, that's how I say it. There you go. We got the Oloroso. The new expression just come out in the month of March. I say it new because we didn't get much time. Look at that, Paul. Paul, did you steal my soup ball as well from Kenny now?
We're just passing it around, Shelton. So when you get it back, make sure they've washed it.
So this
cost me £1.
You should have spoke to me earlier, Paul. I'd have gone and got one as well.
So back to Oloroso. We are talking about the new expressions. There are 2. One is Oloroso and the PX. 7 years old, 5 years in American oak, and 2 years in Oloroso cask. It came out somewhere in March, but again, couldn't get out much in tastings and festivals because we didn't get out much. But there you go. It's at 48% ABV. But let me know what you guys think about it. It needs some time to open up, so it will keep opening up. Yeah. What do you think about it, Gunther?
I first tried this in Brussels in November last year.
Yeah.
You had a bottle with you, and you paid me a lot of money to say it is good, and you promised me to pay me again. So I'm saying the same thing at that point. It's the best Paul John ever.
Yeah.
And now for real, no, it's a really delicious expression. I really like this one. I like this one better than the pigs. Pigs is a bit too much.
But for me personally, I find the PX a bit more sweeter. This is a lot of nutty dry fruits that you get here. It's drier on the palate as well, but it just keeps opening up. Yeah, dates and picks and flows.
I don't know which one.
It's just one
That-
can see me from the window now that happens.
Okay. Reminds me of the Belgian Christmas edition.
That's probably the 2018, which used the Oloroso as well into it. So yeah.
Okay. Spicy finish. I can agree with that.
Yeah.
She's a fan. We all know that, Anne. You are a fan of Chilton. He's paying you a lot of money as well.
To say
Fine.
that.
Again, spicy reminds me of the Christmas edition.
Yeah.
Here they're saying top. So overall, they're big fans. I'm curious. Okay, Stain is writing. Actually, this is the first Belgian that I like. If I'm honest.
It took us. It took us 5 different whiskeys to come out, and the 6th one you liked. I'm glad with it. You didn't have to go to 12.
We can kick Stain off if you want to.
Just forward his address.
Let's start off with a battle. So Chilton, be ready. So Stain, here he is. This is Chilton.
Wax on, wax off.
So Stain, Chilton is seeing you later on the show. He will be at your house. He will be at your porch. He will be sitting on your bench. So.
And
And that's nothing to do with whiskey. That's
And-
just the way Shelton rocks.
and I
There's
hope,
a lot of luggage comes with Shelton.
and I also hope you don't have any pumpkins outside your house, because they will disappear later on.
Yeah, you and Pumpkins, this is a great match. Last time Chilton was visiting us, some of the neighbors lost a bit of pumpkins.
And
My mother was very happy with it, so she said, thank him very much for the kind pumpkin. Can you guess what she made of it?
I do think I know what she made of it. I think she did it. Did she make some soup out of it? That's what you said. I think so. Super. Let's say it in a very Flemish way, right? Super. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Carrying a yeah.
Good, but it doesn't count. It's good.
So Paul is cracking up. Paul, are you running away?
Pardon me? I'm here. I'm just
Are you going to run away?
watching the. No. Shelton has never mentioned pumpkins to me before, so this is a new one. So, waiting for the pumpkin finish, the pumpkin cask finish.
Because the pumpkin cask finish. Then there's also news about the Drama Sutra nowadays.
Is this the one that got that review?
No. No.
Have you seen the review?
Chilton, chocolate and cinnamon.
Yeah, I get the cinnamon on the finish on this one. I get a lot of cinnamon later on the finish coming out. But it's drier and it's big on the nuts. A lot of dry fruits, very nutty. And
Yeah.
that's only. I mean, it's only a 7 years old, but the 2 years. The 2 years in the Oloroso cask is what we get with that color.
Yeah. Is there start coming out something new? In the near future?
We have we have the Christmas edition coming out again. That's coming in next month. And after that, we will have the Mithuna, which is the after Kanya, the next Zodiac series, the Dram Asutra Dram whiskey, the Dram Asutra whiskey.
That's the one. That's
the one
that got the review.
Yeah.
Have you seen the
Mithuna.
review?
I seen the review. Yeah.
Have you seen the review, Gunther?
No.
I got a picture of it. I've never
I got a
seen
picture of
a tasting note. I wish. Can I read the tasting note?
Yeah, you can read tasting notes.
Sampling its sensational chocolate spices complexity is like after you have just made love and you are unable to speak or move while your senses get back to some kind of normality. Now imagine that. That's almost like that scene from When Harry Met Sally.
That is not a tasting note to start with. That is not a tasting note. That's an expression. That's a feeling. But as I said, it's a Dram Sutra whiskey. There you go.
You could just imagine.
Sorry, I'm gonna
You could
keep
just
in there.
imagine wisps of smoke coming from your ears, your hat going like this. Yeah, that was amazing when I saw it. I'd love a review like that. So.
I think you guys have a fan. Man was saying, without a doubt, the weirdest tasting session I've attended in years. If this was a school, these three wouldn't be allowed to sit next to each other.
This was all to happen when Gunther sent the message and all this planning was going on. So we knew this was going to happen. So sorry, guys.
Oh no.
Menno, when we go to whiskey festivals, we're not allowed to sit beside each other.
Yeah.
I wonder why. Kenny, what the hell are you drinking? I see something yellow.
I've moved on to something slightly more local.
It's some kind of iced tea.
Tennent's Lager. It's basically, for most Scots, particularly Glaswegians, we have got slightly too much blood in our Tennent's Lager supply that runs around our body. The amount of this stuff that we drink explains the amount of luggage that we carry around the street, and with the weight that we've got. This is by far the biggest selling beer in Scotland. Incredibly average stuff, and especially speaking to Belgium, utter rubbish. But it does the trick. It does the trick.
Okay.
I live next door to the brewery as well.
I'm gonna show a reaction on the beginning of the show. Kenny drinks the bottle. He's a real lover.
Where was it?
For us Belgians, it's weird to see someone drinking a bottle of Gulden Draak. It's like, what the hell is he doing? It's like drinking the whiskey from the bottle.
Do you know, this is fantastic, but there is one problem with it. The bottle is this size. I need a bottle a wee bit bigger than this.
Kenny, it's not small, it's very far away.
Okay, Kenny, whiskey number 3. You have to start to earn your money, because Jurgen told me before, make sure he talks a bit of whiskey as well. So Jurgen, this is the Kenny time. Kenny?
I told you I knew about whiskey. Right, okay. So the first one we're going to look at tonight from Dramoa is going to be our Glengarry, the 2011. This one's sitting 58.4% alcohol. So it's got a bit about it. The one thing I will start is with a bit of an apology, because this is both the whiskies we'll see tonight. I think, for especially some of our good friends in Belgium will already be very aware of them. We should by now have had our second run released. We have had major problems with bottling due to the amount of bottling halls in Scotland that are closed or running slow time because of the COVID thing. So there's a huge backlog on bottling. So between that and a small hiccup with a labeler, everything's been put back a little bit. We should have that resolved by the end of the week. So our new 5 cask release hopefully will be with you guys by the end of next week, maybe. I don't know, but it will be as soon as we can possibly do it, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I promised the participants they would have a sample of it as well, so they really can taste it afterwards.
Yeah. That's superb. I really appreciate that, mate. Thank you. So for all of you who have already tried the Glengarry, I'm not going to apologise because it's a good dram, but I would rather you were trying one of the new expressions rather than the old ones. So this particular Glengarry, which is something like this, it's a bit of a collector's edition, because if I hold it to the camera, it's not even spelt correctly. There is only one R in Glengarry. However, we managed to print the labels, bottle the whiskey. I hand-numbered every bottle, and it was only when I got to Jurgen over there in Belgium that he noticed it was misspelled. So it's class. It's a collector's edition, and we like to keep it that way. We went to relabel for Germany, and they really got angry with me because they wanted the ones that were badly spelled rather than the ones that were properly spelled. But so this is the first whiskey we're going to look at tonight. The 8-year-old at bottling. This is a refill bourbon soggy, so it's quite a light, quite a delicate whiskey. On the nose, you've got a really, for me, it's one of the things that really show youth in whiskey, is you get that cereal note starting to come through. It's a nice, gentle, toasted cereal note. But there's a lot more in there. There's just this really nice floral element coming through for me. And it's like spring flowers, it's like primrose, it's like honeysuckle. It's sweet, it's delicate. Everything about it is a promise of sweetness. It's not in your face. It's just that wisp, and then it goes away again. But there's a wee bit of spice kicking around in there as well. You've got pepper, you've got a little bit of ginger, a little bit of that kind of spiciness lying in at the back of it, which again runs in with the youth of the whiskey.
Benny's saying first vanilla and then lemon peel.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, you're getting a citrusy note too. It's that kind of zingy, fresh note coming in. For me, I get that. Everybody will taste and appreciate nose differently. For me, I get a very floral note in this.
Yeah, I know Yuri's watching us at the same time, and I wonder what's he think about the taste. Don't say you don't like it. That would be funny.
I was just waiting. I'm never working with this man again. His whiskey is rubbish, man. The very fact that he's not actually talking worries me greatly. It's either that he's drank too much of it and he can't work the keyboard. Swings.
Yeah, but Patricia's with him, so it will be fine.
At least someone's in charge. That's always good. That's why I've always got Victoria 2 feet away. So, for those of you who haven't tried it, by all means, take a wee drink of this. You'll get the sweetness coming through initially, and that, for me, we have a hard-boiled sweet in Scotland called barley sugar, and you get these really sweet barley sugar notes coming through in the whiskey. It's very smooth. Considering that's sitting at 58.4% alcohol, you would never know it was that strength. It's an incredibly well distilled spirit. And normally when you've got something at that strength, you're looking for a bit of age to take the burn, take the sting out it a wee bit. With this, you don't need it. It's just so easy drinking. And that makes it a very dangerous whiskey because it's one of these ones that you drink it. Would you like another one? Absolutely. And you just keep going until bang, away you go. For me, this one was a joy. We were very lucky with some of the casks that we got for the first release, which in turn has put a lot of pressure on us for our second release. That you always hear musicians will tell everyone, the first album is fine, the second album is the difficult one. So in the next couple of weeks, our second album will be coming out, and we're just really hoping that it goes down as well as the first. Thanks, Benny.
Patricia said, yes, he can't type and drink at the same time. I can. And Yuri is responding as well. Me, I do like it. I do like a straight bourbon cask maturation. And Mano reacts, also quite Eastern Highland, same freshness and subtle. I also get in Glencadam.
A what? Oh, Glencadam. Sorry, my apologies.
Right, okay.
I thought, that's a term I've never heard before. Yeah, for me,
I like
Glencadam's
that.
a really good
that
whiskey.
distillery should change their name to that.
What was that, Paul?
I think we should start referring to Glencadam like that. Glencadam. I like that. That's better.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I tell you what, it would sell well.
Yeah. Make fun of the only Belgian guy. Is it because I'm Belgium?
But for me,
You know that most of the distillery pronunciations in Scotland we make up anyway, so because we can't pronounce them. So
So it changes every time someone is saying something about it.
yeah.
Even when we're looking at Glengarry, now normally when you get difficult names of whiskies, they're written in Gaelic. Places like Bruichladdich, Burrahaven, these kind of things. Glengarry's not. Glengarry comes from the far northeast of Scotland, and it's in a dialect called Doric. Now, no matter how I look at the words, there is no way on earth I can make that sound like Glengarry. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So I also would like to apologise for the idiots of the northeast that write things this way, because I don't know how it works either.
Okay. If somebody from the viewers want to say something about this lovely spirit, just go ahead. If somebody wants to say to Kenny, you sucked because we really want to try the Abelauer, let's make sure you do. Go ahead.
Fair.
It's make fun of Kenny now. So Chilton is laughing already.
Glenn,
Shelton, not even Shelton's being polite. That terrifies me that even Shelton's being polite.
I'm saving it, Kenny.
Cold as ice, I would say. And he's sitting there, and he's sitting over there like, yeah.
No, it's, talking about the whiskey itself, I've got a bottle of that, and I joined Kenny in the last virtual tasting that he was doing. They're lovely drams, the Glenrothes and the Glengarry. I've got a bottle each, so yes, I'm happy with that.
I must say, one of the things that since we've started doing this, and our first bottling only came out in beginning of December last year, so we're babies at this game.
Yeah.
The support that we've had from our friends in the industry has been absolutely outstanding. It's been overwhelming at times, and Shelton is the master of social media, so he's done a hell of a lot to make sure that we've managed to get that little bit extra exposure and stuff like this. And I think when you've got guys like Paul and Shelton who have been in the industry much longer than me, who are much more respected than me, and they speak kindly of your stuff, then
Kenny, I have to ask.
Right, it's a loose word, Paul.
How much do they
most
pay
folks
you?
see as all his luggage in this industry, but you know how it goes.
But Kenny, how much? He's fighting with that.
He's done it again.
Sorry,
I'll
Gunther,
converse with you afterwards, Kenny. So
Are you saying, Paul, we don't understand you?
He's
I
from
said to
Glasgow.
Kenny,
He can't help it.
that's okay. I've had that my whole life.
It's like he wants to talk about it. Like, I have a problem. My name is Paul, and I'm looking for friends.
In fairness, Gunther, this is exactly what most Alcoholics Anonymous meetings look like now.
Yeah, but he's drinking Leffe. I have seen it.
We're going to have a Zoom AA meeting afterwards. So
I brought water just in case.
Okay.
It's not for me, it's for the plant behind me.
yes.
Paul gets an option. Stop it. But I really think it's funny because
remove the water.
even now, Paul, you're drinking Leffe from the bottle. It's strange for us Belgians. It's strange looking you guys drinking from the bottle.
Well, I live in an old building and it doesn't have a dishwasher, so I don't like making the glasses dirty. So I just drink from the bottle.
Can you get an extension? My battery's going to run out.
Man is not a big fan of Leffe.
That's just the way.
I'm on the move again
over
because
here.
my
I think
battery's
everybody's-
running out.
I think Kenny's going to the
love it when-
bathroom.
I love it when I come to Belgium and you know all the different beers have all the glasses and the bars know how to serve them. But if you do that here, people steal the glasses and take them home. So everybody just drinks out the bottle. So
Put the blower back in.
Oh, sorry, can you grab what I'm down here now? I've had to plug in.
I found another photo of you guys. You're having an adventure
uh-oh.
a few years ago, I assume.
God, that looked good then.
What the?
I didn't know you lived in another country.
I would never fit in that suit now.
I didn't shave that morning.
Yeah, but as always, I hear a lot of stories when there's some in Belgium, and I presume it's in other countries as well. When there's a whiskey fair, everybody's saying like, "Oh, the guys are going nuts again. They're having a party," and and then I hear some names, and mostly it's about Chilton, and then I hear some other names, Marquardt, Paul,
Kenny.
even Kenny. So,
My
so-
wife is sitting here. I'm always very well behaved.
oh, you don't go to strip bars. Oh, sorry.
No, I used to, but I moved jobs. Apparently, I wasn't good for the clientele. I wasn't getting the money in, and the pole couldn't take me anymore, so I stopped going to strip clubs.
Okay, so it is all about Chilton and his his friends. Not Kenny at all.
Not
Not
Kenny.
me at all. No, I'm actually an angel. The reason I'm holding the phone at this angle is so you don't see my halo.
Ewan can't stand it. Ewan is just giving you guys some beer glasses.
Kenny, I can say that I do have a halo right now.
In fairness, you do, mate. I'll give you that.
Okay, enough about that. Our fourth whiskey is again for Paul. Paul, it's this one, and I have to be honest, I selected this one for you for using this
Cool.
tasting.
No, thank you. No laughing because I've only got the standard one with me tonight, but I'll probably drink the whole bottle before I fall asleep. This is dead simple. This is a no age statement bourbon cask. It's probably the closest thing we have to our new make, and we've had it as a 46% for a long time, and I think it's great. It's like it's super mellow, like cream soda. You know, like the American cream soda is the first note I get with sherbet and all sorts of stuff in the nose. And we did a single cask we might have done a single cask actually for Johan or our Dutch partners for a festival. And at high strength, we thought this is amazing, and it was basically a single cask of this.
Mhm.
So we then did a run of 1,500 bottles at cask strength. Just to show people that, you know, we were really surprised when you move the strength up. A lot of cask strength whiskies are super fierce. This one stays, you know, really, really calm. It stays really, really mellow. It catches a lot of people out. They don't realize it's like 59.5% ABV. We've done 2 batches now. The third batch will be getting bottled in October, so it should be with you guys by Christmas. And it's had since we only do, like, you know, 1 batch a year, but it's been getting amazing reviews. It's one of the easiest cask strength whiskies to drink. It'll be interesting to see what people think, because Kenny's Glengarry was also bourbon cask and 8 years old. Yeah, this is cask strength.
Yeah,
so
sorry,
only 1,500 bottles. Not
8-year-old.
so not single cask, but bourbon cask at cask strength. So there might be a lot of similarities. Our distilleries, although they're different regions, are not too far apart. Although Glengarry is much older than Speyside. But I'd love to know what people think. I think this is what we drink for breakfast at the distillery. This is the morning dram. And
yeah,
you always have to check the label, because You always
You were
have to
off.
check the label because you can accidentally drink, the cask strength and the standard strength ones. I did a tasting in Germany and I accidentally opened the cask strength for a tasting class, and only 2 people in the room of 30 queried that it wasn't 46%, because you can take it without water. It is just super subtle. So
Johannes correcting you. He
that's
took
Johannes,
the
yeah. So we did a single cask bottling, one for Johan and one for our Dutch partner at the same time. And the Dutch one was the unpeated. Johan got the peated one. But that's when we realised that there was a lot of fun to be had by doing cask strength. So the very first examples of this were single casks, and they came to Belgium and the Netherlands. So
yeah. At this point, there are 3 expressions: the Tritina, the Danny, and the. Okay, Chilton, help me out. It's your favorite. Fumare.
Fumare.
Yeah.
Although that's Chilton's catnip.
Chilton, talk about it. Why do you love the Fumare that much?
I know he wasn't in the lion costume in the World of Wizard of Oz photograph, but if Chilton was a cat, that would be his catnip. We don't do a festival without. I have to send drams of this to Chilton when we do the festivals. So
Jonas reacting very smooth for a single cast as an apero. And Anna's asking, why so serious, Kenny?
Because I'm trying to work out how to keep this damn phone alive. I couldn't find the extension lead. It's been a nightmare. I will be back with you in a minute. Hold on.
What do you think? Joining in rather late, was expecting to find absolute chaos and mayhem here. It's not that
we could
I had
we could do chaos if you wanted. We could do chaos if you wanted.
This
not finished the whiskey yet.
good.
At this point, I see a big nose on the screen. Oh, it's Kenny.
It's back.
I know. I'm
But,
just like bloody
yeah,
luggage in this for you lot. So I am.
But
Okay.
yeah, I hope you like this one. You obviously do, Gunther, but I hope the other folk like it as well. It's the first one of the cask strength we've done a third batch of. So
Yeah, the reason why I selected this one is because it's bourbon and it's that clean. Can I say it like that?
yeah, completely.
But it's really smooth and the bourbon and vanilla and the wood is there, and I love this. I love this rum. I can't have enough of it. But I have to say the Fumare and the Tenia as well. They're great sellers as well. So I love them all 3 of them.
The Tenny cask strength, we did the first batch. It was really popular. The second batch sold out in a day, so we need to get a third batch back, I think. So it's just taking a little while to get the casks ready. So
I must admit, I'm a massive fan of the Tenny. Absolutely massive fan of it. I think it's a wonderful whiskey. It really is.
That was a Jim Swan project. We worked with Jim Swan.
Yeah.
Back in the early days. And he worked with Cavalan and Penderyn and all these kind of great distilleries. But he was one of the people that was sort of firing advice our way about cask finishing and techniques and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool to have him around. So did a lot of our early tasting notes.
Chilton, I have to ask, what's up with your hair?
What?
What's up with the hair? Because
I just didn't get the time to go to the saloon. I'm kind of not feeling it very safe to go to the saloon yet.
Okay.
He hasn't had a haircut since February.
It looks funny, like the dot in the middle.
He's trying to turn into the first ever Indian samurai.
Indian samurai, and I'm kind of liking it as well. So it's okay for the moment. The day I get tired of it, I just go for a haircut. But at the moment, I'm enjoying it. I like it.
So do we, because
then
there is a lot of mileage for us to slag a boy bun. A lot of mileage. Says us. I'm just jealous, that's all.
Yeah, ditto. The thing is,
That's-
Shilton invites. I mean, Shilton on his Facebook. For anybody that follows Shilton on Facebook, I think he is friends with everybody. But you know, because every single friend
Literally
request I get, he's always the mutual friend. But on his Facebook, he's been putting pictures up from like 5-6 years ago when he first arrived in the UK, and he was in a shirt and a tie with short hair. He looked like he was going to work in a bank. Look what 5 years of whiskey has happened. Those pictures you put up like last week, we thought you were going to court. We thought we thought you'd been arrested when you put that picture up of your suit and your lovely haircut.
Paul
This-
and I are only in our 20s.
These three guys on the screen are only jealous. That's all I can say. Spot on, and I
Yeah.
can see your comment. They are only jealous, nothing else.
Of course we are.
The only place, I'm not even going to say the only place on my body where my hair grows like that.
Oh, Paul, if you've got to put that in a bun, it'll look like you're walking around Glasgow with a hell of a lot of luggage in your jeans.
I might try and put a little ponytail or a bun there or something. I don't know.
Or dreadlocks.
Oh, enough.
3 against 1 with hair. Nobody knows how Shilton looks under the hair.
I said this to you, Gunther, when we did the tasting the last time. I said this to you because if you look at me and Kenny, and then you're like 10 years younger than me at least. So this is what you've got to come. This is your future.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, mate. Just drink more.
This will
numbs the
start
pain.
going grey. This will start going grey. It'll only take you 2 seconds to dry your hair in the shower. Yeah, it's very convenient.
Okay, so pubic hair it is, dreadlocks and all. Okay, I know.
I didn't ask about that bit, so no, keep those to yourself.
Next time on the show, Paul, Kenny, look.
Look like
No.
I started. The thing I noticed today is Chilton is very relaxed. I really think his wife is nearby.
No.
No.
who do you think's holding the camera? He looked
There are
that
three.
way and he looked that way. Yeah.
There are three guys over here, and they're talking about the hair. What am I supposed to say? Actually, they're only jealous. That's all. That's the answer.
True.
There's
That's
only
true.
one of us could get an advert in a shampoo commercial, and it's not me. So
We could maybe get Just for Men. But that's as good as it's getting, you know.
yeah.
Even
Yeah.
there he is. There he is. It's not the size that matters. It's what you do with it.
You know, we've been trying to get away with that crap for years. Nobody believes it.
I know.
So do I, unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay. Next whiskey. Kenny, it's all yours. It's about your favorite up till now.
Yeah, this really is. So we're moving on to the Glenrothes 10-year-old. This is the last bottle to be opened, which I was saving for today. And I will put a small dent in it for the rest of the night. This was one that we were lucky enough to secure for our first bottling run. And the minute I tried it, now, when we're taking these from the cask, they're still sitting 63-64% alcohol. Glenrothes in particular holds its strength high for a long, long time. And even sitting at, I think to recollection, this was 63.4. It still tasted brilliant. But it was just overly challenging. You couldn't put it out at that. It was just too much. So, thanks, Patricia. So, bringing it down to 58%, I thought for us made the right sense. We retaining that cask strength expression, while we're keeping it really quite a potent specialist drink, but at the same time allowing a lot more of the subtle flavours that Glenrothes carry to come out through the whiskey that we're presenting. So this particular one is a double wood. It started life in bourbon and first fill bourbon. Then it went into our first refill Oloroso cask. I don't have the details of how long it was in there because no one knows. We tried really hard to find out exactly how long it was in. See, I like this guy. But what we've got here is the classic marriage of European red oak and American white oak coming together. You do have these gorgeous vanilla notes, that kind of yellow sultana, that sweet yellow sultana note, almost like freshly baked pastries on the nose. But at the same time, you're also getting that the sherry note, that warmth coming through. You know, you're getting these dried fruits coming through, the cinnamons, the gingers, the nutmegs, all playing away with it. And even in the nose, I was lucky enough, we were in Islay all of last week, and
I'm amazed you survived.
Well, I was only there as luggage. Rory was luggage as well. Victoria was the main one going there. So technically, I was just the driver. Hang on. It's another two. One of the things, I'm very fortunate to call on Jim McEwen, who Jim will advise me on oak for our whiskies. So one of the things that we find as a private bottler is you will get good spirit, but it's not necessarily been in the strongest oak. With this one, we got it this way. We've not done anything to this. But what we have done with some of the ones that will be coming out, as you'll see in the next few weeks, is a lot of really nice, interesting wine finishes. And I've turned to Jim to ask him for advice on exactly how long this should rest in whatever cask we're looking at. So I took this bottle out to him as a wee present, as a thank you. And he's just blown away by it. And I think when guys in the industry at that level are looking at bottles like this then and saying it's good, then I know I'm doing the right thing. The difficulty is when you do release this, you set a very high bar for yourself. So it means that we've always got to make sure that we keep to this standard. I've yet to find someone who has tasted this one and gone, yeah, it's okay. So I think you either love this kind of whiskey or you don't. I very much hope everyone who's out there trying it does like this kind of thing. For me, it was my favourite of the first run. So we'll see what folk think.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying honey sweets, toffee, creamy. Me being jealous, I only have one bottle and it's half empty. Richard is even buying 2 bottles of this one. So I'm drooling all over. I don't think that's a good sign.
Yeah, it's
Don't add
normally
too
maybe
much
about
water.
2 hours from now.
But Kenny, what's the story with Jim McEwen? Because you mentioned him. What's he doing for you and for the company?
Jim just helps me out as a friend. So he's not employed in any way, shape, or form for us. I'm just fortunate enough to call someone like that a pal. So I'd said to Jim, we were stuck last year coming home from Whiskey Shift at Schiphol Airport. There was an absolute disaster and nobody could get anywhere. And Jim and I were stuck in the airport for hours. And the two of us just sat and had a really good talk. And he was asking me what I was doing. And I explained that we were starting to bottle. And he went, who's doing your tasting notes? I said, oh, me, Jim, but I'm no good at them. I don't like doing tasting notes. Just send it to me. I'll do them for you. And I thought, Jim, are you sure? Absolutely. Just give them to me. So he writes all our tasting notes for us. He's got his own independent bottling as well with the Cask Whisperer. So the one thing that we agreed is we can tell people he's doing this for us, but we can't put his name in the bottle I'm
Okay.
fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that.
Yeah.
But for me, I've got a rough idea, a fairly good idea of when I see a whiskey, if I want to re-rack it, exactly what I'm going to re-rack it into. But I've only got a good idea. It's much, much better to go to an expert. And Jim started off life as a cooper, and he knows oak better than anyone I know. So if I give Jim a sample and go, this is what I'm thinking of doing, what do you think? He really makes sure that I've got the right oak for the right time period.
Mhm.
And, you know, I can't thank him enough. It really is. It's so... It's beyond fortunate for us to be able to call him that kind of expertise. But he, hopefully, between, you know, what we know ourselves and how he can guide us, will maintain that the second album should be pretty good.
Manu's volunteering. Just send me some of the next one. I'll do the tasting notes for you. And you can use my name.
Right, so all I've got to do is ship a full case of the whiskey to Menno. And once Menno said that full case of whiskey, I can use it.
Yeah.
That's
A
what
question
friends
from
are.
Johan, and this one, I think it's a good question. Kenny, why are there so many wine casts finished at the moment?
I think people are becoming more experimental with whiskey. For years and years, well, for decades, basically we've had the option of sherry or bourbon. Then over the last maybe 5 years, we've started to see the likes of the Portwoods and the Madeiras and the Muscatels and now even tequila starting to come into play. But I think the very fact that we've got the opportunity to judge a spirit on its own right and then be able to choose from a very wide, expansive amount of flavours that we think will show that spirit in its best quality, then that's why folk are starting to play with different oaks. Now, for me, the reason we went down the wine cask side for this release is because it was meant to come out in the summer. And I thought it would be a really nice summery type of whiskey to have, rather than the big heavy notes if you had a full-bodied sherry or something like that. But obviously, just with one thing and another, the timing of it is wrong. But the whiskey is still, you know, it stands for itself. And the one thing I said to you the last time we were on, I'll not put a whiskey in a bottle unless it's good enough for me to buy. And, you know, I say me. You know, we talked about it the last time I was on. Victoria's the real brains behind this, not me. I'm just the guy that does that and a bit of this. But at the end of the day, she's the driving force of the company. So we sit down and we look at the options for the spirit we have and we work out what's best for it. For example, we've got one that we're maturing at the moment, which is for the Village Festival in Nuremberg next year. And it's a Highland Park, well, Secret Orkney. But it's in a Fijian rum cask. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what's coming out of that. So it's just having a little bit of nouns, a wee bit of knowledge of what flavours go with what character of spirit. And at the moment, a lot of the spirit that we've got is quite light as far as independent bottlers go. So you don't want to find a cask that's way too heavy for it, because what you will do is deprive the flavour of the spirit from coming through into the end product. So I think that probably kind of sums it up.
Yeah. Paul and Chilton, I have a question for the both of you. What do you think is easier? Because Kenny's doing his own bottles and he select them himself. You have to do the work for someone else because someone else produced the whiskey and you have to sell it. What do you think is easier? Is it easier to sell something?
Well, the thing about the indie bottlers, their range is going to change so much more regularly than the distillery guys. So we can have we'll have whiskies in our range that are out for 4 or 5 years, and we can sell them in 50 countries. Whereas with indie bottlers, it might be 250 or 300 bottles, so only small parcels will find their way out around the world. So they, you know, those are always interesting, but they're always different. You taste, you know, if we do this tasting in a year's time, Shelton and I might still have some of the same bottlings, maybe different batches and new runs, but Kenny will have completely new different ones. The downside is he's got to go out and find the new ones.
Yeah.
You know, and it's I think you correct me on this one, Kenny, if I'm wrong, but I think it's getting harder and harder to buy casks.
Oh God,
you've got to look really hard, I think, to get them.
We're quite fortunate with who we know.
Well, that's it.
We
some
do
of the
have
old casks
pretty
going
good.
crazy.
Yeah, and I've actually seen it with a lot of independent bottlers over the last few years. And I certainly wouldn't name names because I don't want to be disparaging to anybody. But the quality of what they used to bottle compared to the quality of what they bottle now is not the same, because they're just grabbing stuff and throwing it into a bottle just to keep the machine moving on. Yeah. Sorry, Paul.
I love looking at indie bottles because it's the part of the, when you do whiskey fairs, those are the tables that are always different every time you go to a fair, because there's such a big variety, and it's you get to know, you recognise some. I love going to Belgium and Germany because there's bottlers over there that don't sell their stuff in Scotland, so you see new ones, and you see casks getting used over there that we don't see in Scotland. You're closer to wineries and things in Europe. That might also be why you're seeing a lot more wine casks. But I love all that. That's why I'm usually
I think
on
one of the things
at festivals in Europe trying to find new ones. So
I've been lucky enough, actually, just looking at what we've got here. Although most of my kind of whiskey experience has been with Ian McLeod's, I've been lucky enough to represent both Speyside Distillers and Paul John in my time, where I've come in to give the guys a hand. I'm very, very fussy over who I will work with. And when you're dealing with both Paul and Shelton's brands, they're both exceptionally good quality brands. The thing where we're very fortunate is we're allowed to be much more experimental than the distilleries can experiment to a degree with limited releases and specials. We've got to think on our feet all the time, and we've got to be better than the last independent bottler who released that particular spirit. For me, one of the more important things is when you take a spirit on, they've already got a distillery style. I'm not even reading it. I'm that busy trying to think of what I'm saying. You get a classic distillery style.
They're cracking.
And for me, what I really want is to come away from that distillery style, to say, well, yes, this, and I've got casks from Paul's distillery, which in the next few years will release. And the one thing I don't want to do is try and mimic what Speyside Distillers do with their casks. The one thing Shelton and I have talked about is I will bottle a Paul John at one stage, but I don't want to mimic a classic Paul John whiskey. I want to show folk this is it's still the same spirit, it's the same class, really good quality spirit, but put a slightly different way. It's good fun, it's stressful. I think the one thing that the boys have got with working with a distillery style is you're confident in what you're going to get. For us, it's a little bit of, I hope this is going to work. Every time you start something, you're putting all your eggs in one basket and really hoping it comes out okay. So it can be quite a roller coaster journey, where the first run went down really well. We're like, yes, shit, we've got to start all over again. And it's always going to be that, where it's the, yes, great, but we've got to start all over again.
Yeah.
And it's good, but it brings its stresses.
Manu's asking, is it the same problem for example, Cadenhead or Douglas Lane? Do they have the same problem with the cask, or do they have more access to the cask?
They will have more access, because what you'll find with the very established independent bottlers, they will have written agreements with distilleries that will allow them access to X amount of casks from that distillery every year. If you think back 10 years ago, you could walk into any distillery in Scotland with money in your hand and buy a cask. You try it now, it's just not going to happen.
Mhm.
Unless it's some of the really young distilleries who are needing to sell their casks as a cash flow, then forget it. You know, you go into Highland Park and say, "Hi, how you doing? Yeah, it's my brother's little one was born. I'd like to buy a cask for her." They'll just laugh at you. There is no way. So these older independent bottlers, like a Berry Brother and Rudd, a classic example, the oldest independent bottler, they have got agreements with distilleries that they will get X amount of stock every year. For us, it's much, much harder. And that's where it comes to the side where it's really important. And for me, I'm lucky because I've had a bit of exposure in the industry. People know me, and I know folk who know folk. So I'm quite fortunate that although I can't always get exactly what I want, I can at least have a rough target of what I want. And, you know, I've got a chance of getting it, but it's not easy, not in the slightest. But
Yeah.
for these more established guys, much easier.
Yeah, but more or less the same and still completely different. Kenny, you're Scottish, so when you're doing
Well,
so you're an independent bottom, being Scottish, I always get the idea it's easier because when somebody, for example, Chilton is starting out as an independent bottler, being Indian, and he's doing Scottish whiskies.
Mhm.
For some reason, I think people don't take him that serious, especially in the beginning.
They don't take me serious now, anyways,
I
Gunther.
was going to say, Sheldon working for Paul John, nobody takes him seriously.
True that.
Yeah,
No, but
obviously
you
being
get the
Scottish
idea.
helps. Being Scottish helps. And I think the very fact that over the last 5 years, Ian McLeod's have allowed me as much exposure as I've had in Europe to international festivals and things like this. I've been able to get my face known. I've been able to build up a persona within the European whiskey industry in particular, where the whiskey drinkers of Europe know who I am. So I'm not just coming in as someone who no one's ever heard of before. I'm coming in as, oh, that's that fat wolf who does Glengoyne. So folk have got a rough idea of who I am. And a hell of a lot of folk have already met me. So the very fact that they've met you, they're like, oh, that's Kenny's whiskey. You know, and that's where me being the kind of the face of Dramore. And
Yeah, but it's funny you say that because it's the same thing for Paul and Chilton as well. Everybody's talking about Paul John, but at the same time, they think about Chilton when they talk about Paul John.
Yeah,
it's the same. It's the same reason for Paul. When they're talking about spy whiskey, it's always about, oh, that's Paul.
Whiskey is a very personal industry.
It depends where you are in Europe because there is a French Chilton.
There is Bin Bin.
And
Bin Bin is like Chilton but nicer.
I was at a fair in Italy a couple of years ago, and somebody from Tom and Tell Adam came running over our table that we know, and said the guy on the Paul John stand, and from the back you saw the tall, skinny, with a really flowery, floral, decorative shirt on, and you could see a big beard, and you're like, oh right, and he goes, but it's not Chilton, he's French, and it was they have a Paul John have a guy in France. So if in the is it south of Europe, Chilton?
Yeah.
So in the southern parts of Europe, they have Benjamin, which is, you know, because I went over and went, hey,
it has to be a lookalike.
He does the French market and the southern market for us. I mean, again, just like Paul was saying, it's very important to have a face, behind, and especially when talking about the single cask as well. Before talking about Kenny and how it is for us or Kenny. It's very difficult to pick up the right cask as well for them, for Kenny. I mean, you want to. It's not easy, and then delivering the right to different markets. Like there's some markets where peated whiskies work, some are more popular. So you have to pick up the right cask which the people will love. So it's not easy for an indie bottler as well. And then you go back to saying Kenny. People knowing Kenny, saying, well, he has been in the industry. He's been working with different brands, so we can trust his palate and go to him and he offers, I'll buy the bottle because he is doing a good job. You know him very well, so that helps a lot for the face. There you go.
It's a way to get another.
Sorry. Needs must, guys. Needs must. Slange it.
What Kenny was saying though, it's probably also important that if you work with distillery bottlings, there's a lot of independent bottlers have casks from us, because in the 1990s our distillery sold a lot of casks just to stay. I mean, they opened in 1990 and there was a big recession on, so they there's some amazing single cask independent bottlings of our stuff out and about. I love finding them. But from a distillery's point of view, I think it's important that if you find independent bottlers that are doing good different things with your casks as well. You know, if it was an independent bottler that was releasing an 18-year-old bourbon cask 2 weeks before we were going to release an 18-year-old bourbon cask, it could be a bit awkward. So it's nice when guys like Kenny get hold of stuff and start re-racking and finding weird and wonderful things to do with it. So
that's good to know, Paul. It's I think one of the most important things from my point of view as an independent bottler is without the distilleries, we're nothing. We don't exist. So you've always got to be very mindful, very thoughtful, and incredibly respectful to the spirit that you've got. You're lucky to have it. As Paul's quite right, there is quite a lot of stuff that going back to the 90s that's on the market. We could buy it, we could bottle it, but it's going to cost you 250 euros a bottle, because it's incredibly expensive stuff to get your hands on now. We're fortunate, particularly with Paul's company, where we've got a good understanding. We're good friends, and we've got a few of their casks sitting now. I'm really looking forward to what we're going to do with the Spacesides that we have. We've just got to be very careful and very respectful to the fact that, we've been entrusted with showcasing their spirit. And if we do it wrongly, it's not only a slight on Dramore, it kind of is a bad thing for Speyside Distillery as well. So it's really
what you said
to make sure that it's right.
What you said about the independent bottlers, what you said about you guys existing because of the distillery bottlings, you can turn that around as well, because whiskey industry goes through mad recessions, and a lot of the distilleries in Scotland survive because of the independent bottlers. So there was lots of distilleries that we might have been one of them actually in the 90s, but because of people like Cadenheads and Gordon MacPhail, those supply contracts were essential business for the distilleries. When
that's
they probably weren't able to sell their own bottles at the time. So
there's the Glenrothes.
They definitely work in tandem. So
Glenrothes, for example, is closed 7 times. Well, changed hands. It's closed 5 times. It's changed hands 7 times. Mm-hmm. So the very fact that it's been closed that often, I think there are very, very few distilleries in Scotland, if you go back to the 1823 Licensing Act and stuff like this, who can say that they have been open all the way through since 1823. The vast majority of them have been mothballed or closed at some stage. We're very fortunate in the era that we are working in whiskey, because if you can't sell whiskey, then you want to give up, because everybody wants it. The difficulty we've got, and what I'm finding at the moment, is the more markets who are coming on board who want to take Dramore on, we just don't have enough goods to give them. So, for example, Canada, we've now got a new distributor in Canada. They want more than we can give them. So what we're going to have to do is a bespoke bottling run for certain markets. Now, the one thing that I have agreed with Jürgen, because, Gunther, you and I talked about this the last time I was on, without Jürgen, I would not want to know where we would be, because that man and Patricia, the two of them have been a revelation to us. So no matter what I bottle and for who it is, Jürgen will always get some of it. Yeah. But that way, the Belgian market, because that is that is really for Vermont. That's the birthplace of our whiskey. It's the only international show we've ever been able to do because of the pandemic. It's where our biggest fan base and our most loyal customers have been. So no matter if I'm bottling for North America, if I'm bottling for, I don't know, Scandinavia, whatever, you will always get X amount of those bottles as well. Because if it wasn't for the Belgian clientele, we would have been really in bother through lockdown. But it's becoming harder and harder. We've got, I think, 5, 6 new countries who want Drumore, from Israel to Canada to Finland to Hungary. And, as Paul said earlier on, that Glenrothes, it's only 220 bottles. 348 bottles. So where do I go with that?
Yeah.
There's only so
By the way, Kenny, you're all few too, man.
I all of you.
Okay, we're gonna try we're gonna taste the last whiskey of the evening, and we can talk on about whiskey later on. But Chilton, everybody's saying he's correcting. I love you too, big man. Chilton, you have been quiet all evening. Even Mark suggested there's something wrong with Chilton. So make up for it.
Of course, there's something wrong with Chilton. Have you met him?
Let's go nuts.
I mean, I love to listen to Paul and Kenny all the time, and this was something very interesting topics that were going on. So I was enjoying it myself and listening to them. So, just when we are going to talk about the last whiskey, I think this is the time when you should start counting with a pen and paper. Start counting. So,
by the way, Paul, your number was 0.
Who, me?
No, Paul. His number is at this moment 0.
Paul.
No. Paul's on at least 2.
I even missed that one.
Paul, now that's how good Paul is at this. He's on at least 2.
Okay.
He's not here just as luggage, He's
we'll
here
make
to
it
do
up.
the job.
We'll make 3 of it.
We will converse later, and we will converse later and recount, Gunther. I'm sure of it.
At the end of the show, we will explain what we're doing for the viewers. But anyway, Chilton.
The viewers don't think we are weird. It's a joke. You'll figure it out later on. So don't think about it. So there you go. Talking about the whiskeys. I mean, as you've seen before, we are based on the west coast of India in Goa, which is just 10 kilometers from the sea. The temperatures for us are super hot. It's super humid. So for us, the whiskey, the extraction flavors are a lot higher. But at the same time, the angel share is also super high.
Oh, wait a minute. I object to this.
Stewards and
It's hot.
The angel share for us is about 8 to 10%. You cannot object on anything, can you? So we lose about 8 to 10% of the angel share every year. The one we are having right now is a single cask, limited edition for the Nectar in Belgium. So it's only available in the Belgian market. Yep, there you go. 192 bottles available. This is also at 58.5 ABV. So again, super limited availability.
I tell you what, Shelton, see if you put a handle on that could be luggage. That is a hell of a box you've got there.
You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to interrupt when I'm talking. You had your chance.
I think the judges need to the judges need to converse here. This is not on. So.
There you go. There you go. Okay. American Oak first fill ex-bourbon cask. It's a peated whiskey, so it's for us. We ship the peat from Scotland, take it into India, and do the malting in India itself. There are only 192 bottles. I love this one. In fact, I just bought it. I think last month was it? Was it last month when I
We bought 2 bottles of this one,
2 bottles bought it up here?
and it has been shipped to England.
Yes, Gunther trying to say that we ship worldwide as well. That's so, guys. Yes, wherever you are, Saint Mac does deliver worldwide delivery as well. So I'll send you my invoice later on, Gunther. So let me know what you think about this. It's again, I get a lot of smokiness, vanilla on the palate. It's sweet. Actually, it's actually super sweet on the palate.
It's not a word.
Oh, stop it.
It goes head.
I can't believe it took you that long to think of the word super.
It was quiet all evening long, and it's like,
Oh,
no.
you can get this done and dusted. Easy.
When I figured out that how to use it in the right way, Kenny, that is when I was waiting to talk. I'm like, guys, shut up, let me talk.
And at this point, Paul is thinking, what I'm going to do.
I was actually thinking how you got the peat to India and whether or not you put it in your luggage or not.
Can I get a point for that?
No.
No.
Paul, I'm going to have to converse with you about that.
God, it's word.
I'm going to have to converse with you
about
that.
I just saw a comment from Anne over there, and it is actually true. You guys do worldwide deliveries. So yes, super Saint Mac.
She's helping you.
Boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
But anyway, Davy is saying, nice one, salted caramel and a gentle peat.
Oh yeah, whiskey, Shelton. Whiskey.
So yeah, have you got it as well, Hunter? Okay.
I can follow the salted caramel, I have to say, and it's sweet on the nose. And yeah, like I said before, I really like this one, and the previous one, the 4915.
4918.
I really love that one as well, but that was a bit more peaty, and this one is more.
4918 was more peatier than 6017.
Yeah.
This is on the palate. This is more sweeter. It's very sweet. As I said before, super sweet.
Yeah. Benny's saying honey in the back.
Shelton.
Yes, lots on the honey. Yes.
Too much, honestly. For ages, for this lug.
Kenny, you were talking about me being quiet. You should see the comments and see the support I'm getting. I'm getting my answers right over there, looking at the screen. I'm getting my answers right over there. Everybody's helping me out. I've crossed that number. You don't have enough fingers up there over there.
You're about 30, mate. You're about 30 in 2 sentences.
And at this point, it all goes nuts.
At this point.
Roy is asking, how is the finish on this one compared to the 491?
This is a very long finish, a very long, oily. You get, of course, you get the peat, but very sweet on the back as well. So yeah, the oiliness again comes in from. I mean, most of it is. We use a 6-row barley, which is very high on protein. So you get this oily character.
I'm hoping Paul's frozen, or he's had a stroke. Big man, are you okay?
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to. I've lost the.
Don't watch porn during the show. We told you so.
Oh, of course, aye. Silly of me, aye. Paul, speak to me. Yeah, it's stuck.
So yeah, it's and again, this whiskey, this single cask is only a 4 years old. 4 years old whiskey.
So Paul is back.
Oh no, that's confused me.
I'm back.
I used to be over there, and now I'm over here. Oh, no, I don't know what's going on anymore.
This is
Kenny.
see, the technology went all wrong. It's because I've been sitting next to Kenny all night. His gremlins have moved across the screen.
Sorry.
Kenny,
I'm a jinx. I'm a jinx. I know that.
Kenny, the stuff that Gunther is doing with the screen over there is super confusing.
Mhm.
Super confusing, right?
At my age, Shelton, the very fact that I've got a screen and I don't have to turn it over to look at something else confuses me. I'm only watching this waiting on Coronation Street coming on.
Whoa.
I hope you have noted down everything, Gunther.
I try to. At this point, you're winning. So
Now remember, after
he's
10
preparing.
we count. After 10, we were told 10. That was it. So long as if we've all hit 10, we're all winners in our eyes.
But you don't
Stop
have.
being a smart ass, Shelton.
But not everybody has them.
It was you have to do a minimum of 10. At least 10. At least 10.
Paul,
Get
up your
It's not.
Can someone revive Paul?
It's not the winning. It's not the winning.
No.
It's the taking part.
Not to
said
give
a
it
famous
away.
loser.
I've
You
been counting.
actually got it.
Not that I'm competitive in any way, shape, or form.
I think Gunther, you should tell people what is this about before they think that
Okay,
we are.
No. I think Patricia has a good idea. Patricia, tell us, what do you think is happening this evening? And if you know, just give us the words. Let's say the word.
It's nothing to do with hallucinogens or mushrooms or anything like that. It is
No,
just-
they didn't use drugs. I presume. I'm not sure of that. Especially Paul, because he did this part. But normally they didn't try to do drugs. I tried to send it to them, but it came back. They all have words to use. That's correct. And do you have any idea what the words are?
Kenny was luggage. That was so easy.
Chilton is soup, but the most difficult one because even I apparently Kenny heard 3 times, but I didn't hear 3 times.
Three
No,
times.
Paul's word.
Oh, Paul's. Oh no, Paul's slipped his word in quite a few times. But he's been
Oh, do you have any
incredibly
idea
subtle.
how many times?
I'm sitting on 5 with Paul at the moment.
Oh, there you go. Then I wasn't counting. I don't do the numbers. I just converse. So
Paul is soda.
No.
Paul, what was your word?
Soda.
I said it. I don't do the numbers. I just converse. So you can take the.
There he
notes.
goes again.
You're doing my tax.
Richard is leaving
You're
us.
doing my
Thank you
tax
very
return
much
next
for
week.
joining us, Richard. He's proceeding with the Glengoyne cast rank, so I think it's a good choice as well. Paul used soda 3 times, I think. It's the word is converse, like the All-Star shoes.
So, Gunther, do you want to explain why we have these words?
Because I know you always talk a lot, especially you, Kenny, and so I wanted to make it a bit difficult. So I told the guys from, you don't have to do this because we only let Kenny say luggage a lot, and he did. And apparently Chilton was a bit embarrassed and he wanted to do you a favor and he used soup a lot, but it was all up to you, Kenny. It was all for
It
you.
was 10.
It was all for me.
It
It was
was a bit
purely
tenuous
because
with
of me and my love for losing luggage.
Yeah, the word is chosen by Chilton, by the way. So, to the viewers,
Kenny,
this
you can
was the
There, Conan.
you can
In
thank me.
fairness, I think of
Luggage.
all the words for the 3 of us, mine probably is the more fitting. Yes, Paul loves his Converse. There's no 2 ways about it. Shelton loves his.
I wasn't allowed to mention the shoes though.
No, but no matter where I go, no matter what I do, I lose my luggage. To the extent that Paul and other guys in the industry get in touch with me before a festival and say, "What flight are you on?" "Oh, I've booked this flight." Okay, they'll book a different flight because they know my luggage is going to go missing.
Paul, is it true or does he smell a lot?
I've stood at the airport beside Kenny, and you know that the bit at the airport where the conveyor belt and the suitcases come out, you know, and you watch all the cases, and there's one, and at the end there's like a little post-it note that comes out like this, just stuck to the conveyor belt with "Not today, Kenny" written on it as it goes past. So
Yep. 5 times
Always.
last year. 5 times.
Which is
I
good,
lost a
but-
suitcase in 1 year.
Okay. I have a question for Paul and Chilton. I don't know if you can answer it, but obviously Kenny is coming out with a lot of wine cars in the near future. Are there plans for doing something similar for Spy or Paul John, doing wine cars finish?
We've got a couple of barrels. My colleague went down to Spain last year to some of the sherry bodega, and we picked up some ex-Solera barrels and things like that. We did a single cask for the Spirit of Speyside Festival a couple of years ago. It was a Bordeaux wine cask, so we've got a few. And my Swiss distributor sent me. My Swiss distributor owns a distillery there as well, and they do a lot of wine cask stuff. So the last time I was there, I asked them to send me some barrels. So we've got some of their barrels in our warehouse that I think are from Italian vineyards. Haven't tried the whiskey that's in them recently, but if they're good, then we'll bottle them. So
Okay, so maybe. Chilton?
yeah, that's where the experimentation comes in. So
For us, it is. I mean, we have done the Oloroso and the PX right now. The next is the Virgin Oak. We are using the Virgin Oak into the Christmas edition this year, and going forward, we have the Portuguese wine cask with us. We have some Madeira and stuff, which is we are working on. So it is pretty much new. So it will be something in 2021 whenever it comes out. And we looking at working with some rum cask in the future as well. So that is the plan, much I know at the moment. But yes, we are open to experiment now that we have, the brand is set, the range is set. Then it's time for us to try different stuff. Just like how we tried with the Oloroso and the PX. The Virgin Oak is something very different as well. You will see it with the Christmas edition coming out now.
Okay. There's a question from Patricia. Kenny's one for you. Do the other guys pack some spare underwear for you?
No, I don't use it.
And Manuel thinks he knows why.
I've always got a kilt. Well, no. In fairness, I don't always have a kilt because it doesn't turn up.
There are times where you have even lost the suitcase with the kilt in it as well. I remember that.
Yes, I've had to do stuff. So, I always carry a backpack, and the one thing I always have is spare underwear in the backpack, and it's the only underwear I carry because when I'm wearing a kilt at a festival, I don't wear any underwear. So,
Yeah.
East Indies meets West Indies rum cast. It's an idea.
Nice. That's actually one thing when we're talking about wine casks. I would imagine, now correct me if I'm wrong, Shelton, but the very fact that Shelton's whiskey has got such a fast maturation rate, I don't think that would work too well with European wine casks. I think you drag way too much in too quickly. And with wine casks, you've got a lot of opportunity to get that very wrong.
Yeah.
And even for us in a very, very slow maturing country, you're in a really tight time frame just to nip it at the right time. The very fact that in Goa you've got such a high maturation rate,
Super
I've
high.
got a funny feeling that would be very, very tasking for any Indian whiskey company, never mind someone like Goa, to be able to produce something in a wine cask, not fortified wine. Yeah, you can probably get away with. Well, you can get away with it. No two ways. You know, good heavy-bodied whiskies can take the Madeiras and stuff like that. And even there's a few things you can play with there, but when it comes down to the really delicate wines, even for us in a cold climate, that's difficult. So when you're dealing with that in a much hotter climate, I just think that it's a risk too far, because once you've impregnated that whiskey with that flavour, there's no coming back from it. And I just don't think that would work. I don't know. You know, you can tell me more about that than I do, Shelton. But I think that's probably about right.
As I said, to do it that way will be very difficult, Ken. You're very much on it. So I mean, like 2 years old, if that is the color you get in just 2 years finish in Oloroso, and then you can see where it is going. Exactly. I mean, that's why that Oloroso is rich and so much fruitier. I mean, so much big on the character.
What's
I don't
an angel share, Shelton?
8 to 10%.
There you go.
Everything in Goa matures super quickly, though.
Super.
He's 14.
I'm only 14. 14, by the way. I look 36 or 38, but I'm only 14. It's the weather.
It's the weather, yeah.
Wait till you see him when he's 51.
It matures. I mean, the extraction rate compared to Scotland, the extraction rate, flavor extraction rate from the wood is about 3 to 4 times faster.
Right.
So 3 to 4 times faster from 14. That's it.
Wait till you reach my age, boy. You're doomed.
Yeah, he's 27 or something. Okay, guys, we're at the end of the show for the viewers. So to all the viewers, thank you very much for joining us. Paul, Kenny, Chilton, I will see you later on the back. But anyway, thank you very much for doing this. And again, I have to say again, thank you very much. Sorry, wrong button. To our importers, Whiskey Import, Whiskey Mercenary, and the Nectar for allowing us to do this, because it's not that common to use different importers and have a tasting like this. So thank you very much for allowing us. And you guys, yeah, it's nuts, and really nuts. So I hope everybody enjoyed their whiskeys and the show. We're about 1 hour and 50 minutes. So for an online tasting, it's pretty good. If anybody has a question, this is time. It's all now. And at this point, Anna's looking forward to seeing you in person. I think she's talking to me.
No.
No.
She's got 3 much better looking guys. Come on.
Okay. Is anybody of you want to say something to the viewers? This is the time. Let's say, Paul, do you want to say something?
Thank you for hanging around, folk, and thank you for the welcome you always you give me, and the support you give to our whiskey and to Johan when we're in Belgium. I am hoping to be in Belgium in a couple of weeks' time, but it depends on what the travel stuff happens in between. So I might even see some of you in person. But thank you, and I can't wait to get back to one of the festivals there. So
yeah,
but I need to check what flight Kenny's on first. So.
I'll take that, Paul. I'll take it. Yeah, that's fair.
Chilton.
Well, thank you everyone to hang around for this super evening, and
let it go, Shelton. Thank
you for having the. I mean, really appreciate the patience to listen to these 3 guys. That I was quiet today, so I'm not included in this. So you guys really deserve a lot to listen to these 3 over here. And I hope to see everyone in person next time and have a few beers again. Till then, stay safe, Cheers.
By the way, I have to tell this, guys. You don't know this, but Chilton has a big fan base in the town I live, because one of the previous time he was here, and it was the time, I think it was the Mars Orbiter.
Yes.
Yeah, and everybody wanted to have an autograph of him signing the bottle, like he was the man behind it. And that's why I said Chilton is the face of Paul John, and I think mostly in Belgium. I don't know for other countries, but in Belgium, it's all about Chilton and more a bit less.
Sheldon, can you move back from the camera because your head's getting that big? I can't actually see you. I'm sorry, mate.
And I know Shilton's popular in Belgium because all the guys that own breweries in Belgium have bought Rolls Royces because of the amount of beer that Shilton buys when he goes there. The last time I was in Ghent, Shilton walked past me halfway through the festival with a basket of beer like this size.
But again, I mean, seriously, Paul and Kenny, if you have not been to Kinrooi, you should go there. It's a lovely place, a lovely town. They have one ambulance there, one policeman there. What else, Gunther?
One pumpkin. And a lot of weeds.
So there's only one policeman.
Just one policeman, yeah.
When you travel by train, you will notice that.
And if it gives me any trouble, there's one ambulance.
If you travel by train, the train stops in Genk, and that's like the end of the world. The train doesn't go any further, and then Kinrooi is like 45 minutes from there. So it's
yeah, but you
back
tried to fish here, and you said it was one of the most.
That's the end of the world.
And you still get a better, but you're still getting a better internet connection than Kenny got 20 miles from Glasgow. So.
Yeah. Okay, last one. Thank you very much, Kenny. Do you have anything to say to the viewers?
I would like to beg forgiveness for my internet. Yeah, listen, guys, it's always an absolute pleasure. The very fact that I've been able to do this with two of my best friends in the industry is just ridiculous. When Gunther floated this idea a wee while ago, I just sat down and thought, how is this going to work? Because we're a nightmare together without a drink. We're a nightmare together at all, but doing this is just going to be fantastic. It was a hoot. I really appreciate everyone who's tuned in to listen to our nonsense. And we hope to just keep doing what we do, guys. And I can't wait to get back out to see you. And the minute we do, we'll sit down. I'll bring you a few of these. You can bring me a
Don't
few.
put them in your suitcase.
I'll DHL them home, Paul. It's safer. Guys, thank you very much indeed. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
And good, thank you.
Of course. You can bow now. It's it's that time.
No, I thank you. And even that was struggling.
Okay. I will send the check later on. So, guys, thank you very much to the viewers. Thank you very much for joining us. This is the end of this show. Within the next few weeks, we will do another show as well. I'm talking to some other guests and doing something more or less the same and still completely different. And I promise there will be handsome women with us and not these three ugly guys. So just the next. Again, soon.
Well, thank you.
Bye.
Slash it.
Cheers, everybody.